Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's the Friday before Week 5 in the NFL, and we are going to talk with Chris Andrews to get his thoughts on some possible line value with the current odds and discuss maybe some interesting line movements that we've seen over the week in the NFL. Chris Andrews, thanks for joining us once again this week. What's the first NFL game you'd like to discuss this week?
Well, Peter, I've always said in the NFL, if you want to be successful long-term, you got to buy low and sell high.
Yes.
Well, I'm buying real low on a team this week, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, they have looked. Yeah, I don't blame you with the Yeah,
no, I'll tell you why I went because when I first saw that line open on Sunday night, based on pure gut, no stats, no nothing, my gut told me this is one of those situations where the Giants are overvalued as a favorite, and I like San Francisco. But everything I've heard since then has said I'm crazy and that the Giants are a great bet. You're the first opinion I've heard in favor of San Francisco, so that makes me happy. So that's why I went, So let's hear what you have to say about it.
Well, again, I think it's really one of those situations. Like I said, you're buying low on San Francisco. Yeah. They looked horrible against the Cardinals. I mean, that game was over. 2 series into the game, Cardinals had the big lead. That San Francisco never had a chance after that. They didn't play very well against Pittsburgh, but Kaepernick didn't play all that badly against Pittsburgh. He didn't play all that well last week against Green Bay, but the defense played very good. They held Rodgers to 200 yards passing. The running game for Green Bay, I think, had 70-some yards, so certainly not all that great. So I think the defense really has been pretty good for San Francisco. The offense is putting them in some horrible positions. Now, Pittsburgh did chop them up pretty good. But you look at Aaron Rodgers, who they held down. First game of the year, they hold down Adrian Peterson. I think he had like 31 yards, I want to say, rushing. So the defense has been pretty good. And Kaepernick, he's had some horrible games, but he's had some pretty decent games too. And right now, we're not asking them to win the game. We're asking them to keep it within 7. I think they can do that. I think the Giants, coming off a very big win at Buffalo, next week have the Eagles on deck. I think this is kind of a good spot for San Francisco. Getting away from home may be what the doctor ordered. I don't think that that's going to be so bad of a road trip on a Sunday night. I think they're going to be very inspired to play as well as they can, make some amends for how poorly they've looked. I like the Niners in this one.
All right, Chris Andrews, again, that was my initial thought on this game, but my initial thought was based purely on gut, not based on advanced stats, not based on basic stats, based on zero stats, just based on gut. We'll see how this one turns out. All right, what's the second NFL game you'd like to discuss with us this week, Chris?
Well, I'm going to come back with the Steelers. Again, I think that they really could have won that game against the Ravens.
Wait, Chris, did you hear me go, again?
I did not. I was talking.
All right, well, I did. Let me tell you why. Because It sounded like you were going to start off saying that you're leaning Steelers here. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, well, again, maybe this is like bad minds think alike or great minds think alike because, again, my initial thought on this game, exactly the same with San Francisco and the Giants. I was leaning Pittsburgh, same deal. All throughout the week, every opinion I've heard was on San Diego. You're the first opinion that I've heard that I'm going to be hearing like in Pittsburgh. And I just did a call with a DSI guy, and he told me that sharp action came in on San Diego -3 as well. So this is the exact same situation as San Francisco. But I also was leaning Pittsburgh, and again, for basically gut reasons. Why do you like Pittsburgh here?
Well, I think you look at all the things that went wrong for Pittsburgh last week, and they still, one made field goal. They walk away with a win, and we're having a whole different conversation. Michael Vick only had 3 days to practice with the first unit. He certainly looked rusty. I think now you have an extra day. So they go from Thursday to Monday. So you get an extra day, besides just going to Thursday to Sunday, to work Vick in with all those players. And, Peter, make no mistake about it, Pittsburgh has a lot of offensive weapons. Now, It's up to the coaches, too. I don't think they did a very good job against the Ravens. But I think the coaches, Michael Vick, Martavis Bryant back now for the Steelers, coming off his drug suspension. A lot of weapons for this team. You look at the Chargers. Last week, a lot of money showed against the Chargers, mostly because of the problems they had in the offensive line. That offensive line still has the same problems. They're juggling players in and out of positions, signing people off their practice squad. So that offensive line, I just don't think is going to afford Phillip Rivers the time to throw the ball, although all credit goes to Rivers for having a terrific game last week when the Browns were in his face the whole afternoon. I think it's going to be a little bit different with the Steeler team. I think the Steelers won't let him march up and down the field. Not that he marched up and down the field, but he certainly did what he had to. I think he threw for 358 yards, if I remember correctly. But they bottled up the running game pretty much for the Chargers. I think the Steelers do the same. I don't think they let Phillip Rivers get off against their secondary. I look for an outright Steeler win. I think this is another situation we're buying low on the Steelers.
Yeah.
But we should. It's not reflected properly in the Chargers. They have a lot of problems on that offensive line, and I think that's going to hurt them quite a bit.
All right. Well, when you're buying low anywhere in life, by definition, you're buying something ugly. And Chris Andrews buying low this week on San Francisco and Pittsburgh, and that was my gut feeling when I first saw these opening lines on Sunday night. Chris Andrews, thanks so much for your thoughts. Talk to you again next week.